I let a couple of the animals in the front yard back here. These are I got two steers that came from the same farm. I'm pretty sure they're brothers, and they've been preconditioned for over a month, and they've already been steered. And so I just went ahead and I brought them back here. And as of right this moment, I'm actually feeding about 17 to 18 buckets a day. I actually have the animals off the grass right now because I got that dead animal. I put him all the way in the back, and that dead animal died of some kind of a contagious disease. I had another animal get the disease, get the illness, and die from it as well. And I attempted to treat it with a heavy level of antibiotics, and it did not work. And so I don't want that illness spreading across my herd, because these animals, when they see that that animal in the back, they'll go over there and they'll sniff at the animal, and they'll because the cattle are intelligent. They'll go back there and they'll take a look at the animal, and they'll sniff the animal. They're not like a lizard. Cattle are intelligent. And so I had some kind of a contagious disease, and it was the antibiotics did not work. And so, I don't want the illness spreading across my herd. So I actually have the animals off of the field right now, and I'm actually just feeding them a total mixed ration here in about maybe 4 or 5 days. And I got another animal that I got to take back there, but there's so much mud. I don't want to get stuck in the mud. And so I got to take that animal to the back. And originally I was actually going to take animals to the lease property today. I was going to start taking animals to the lease property, but there's just too much mud. It's too much mud. I can't get my trailer back here, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that next week instead. And I'm gonna start taking animals over to the lease property. And so this morning I have a question that I figured I would ask, because I'm gonna ask a question to make sure that we're all on the same page. Just to make sure that just to give you my perspective, all right? Because and I talk about this all the time. At the end of the day, I'm not looking to be a prick. I'm not looking to be an arrogant whatever fool or anything like it. At the end of the day, it is what it is, right? All right, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Nobody cares about an opinion. It doesn't matter if it's my opinion. It doesn't matter whose opinion it is. Nobody cares about an opinion. And so, good, bad, who knows? But at the end of the day, honesty is honesty, right? If I'm being honest about it, then at least I'm being honest about it. And so, when I take a look at my overall situation and I consider it for what it is, I generate about $3 to $5 million a year. I generate about $3 to $5 million a year. I'm actually probably going to be doubling the size of my business over the next 4 months. Over the next 5 months, I'll be doubling the size of my business. I'm doing very well for myself. I got myself a deal on a lease property, and here's the thing, is that when you take a look at it in terms of a monetary standard, most people cannot even do 10%. Most people don't even make $3 to $5 million their whole life. And if you want to take a look at it in terms of another way, in terms of another way to look at the same exact idea, most people don't even have $2,000. Like, if they run into a situation where they need $2,000, it just turns into a major problem for them. And in my current situation, even as it is right now today, if I took $1 million and I shoveled it into a hole and I lit that money on fire, it wouldn't even do anything. It wouldn't matter to me. That's the amount of difference in the money, in terms of a monetary standard. And you're probably, I don't know if there are many people that it's like, I generate somewhere between $3 and $5 million a year, and that number's actually going up. All right, that number's going up pretty drastically. All right, and I don't know anybody that even, I don't personally know anybody that even does 10%. And so this is a very, opportunistic time for, because why not? Why not just show why not just show how I do it? Because at the end of the day, I'm the one with the money. I'm the one who knows how to make the money. At the end of the day, I'm not going to become poor. All right, I was talking about this yesterday. I've already legitimately decided that I'm not going to be poor. It doesn't matter if I have to leave everybody for dead. I'm not going to be poor. And I'm not going to sell my soul to the devil to do it, but I'm not going to go and oh, maybe I can go on some altruistic. No, I'm not going to do that. All right, I don't sell my soul to the devil. I make a large amount of money, and at the end of the day, I'm the one with the money. I'm the one who knows how to make the money, and I'm actually even going to be doing better for myself, and I have a very reasonable idea for how I'm going to do that. I would actually anticipate that I double the size of my business over the next 5 months. All right, and even as of today, if I legitimately took $1 million and I shoveled it into a hole and I lit that money on fire, it wouldn't even matter to me. It wouldn't do anything to me financially. That's my financial situation. Do I go and buy myself 3 or 4 Lamborghinis? No, I don't. What am I going to do with 3 or 4 Lamborghinis? It's not going to do anything for me. What do I realistically do with my money? Right, I reinvest it into my business. Okay, that's what I do with a large portion of my money. All right, I don't, almost I would say 99% of my money goes back into my business. And another way to see that is that over the next 5 months, I'm probably going to be doubling the size of my business. All right, I got myself a good opportunity. I'm going to be taking a large amount of animals over to the leased property. I'm going to have them on grass, et cetera, et cetera. But let me ask a question. So let me, and I'll ask it in terms of, let's say Farmer Howard. Farmer Howard is in a situation where as of right now, he has $2,000 cash. He has $2,000 cash, okay? Theoretical equation, because, and this is not me, because me, I've already said, I'm already at about, 32,000. All right, but whatever, but let's say, okay, but, let's put it in terms of, okay, Farmer Howard brought home $2,000 cash on top of his new animals. He brought home $2,700 cash, $2,500 cash last week. A week ago, he brought home $2,500 cash, and he also brought home 4 animals. So Farmer Howard is in a situation where as of today, his preconditioning pens are empty, and he is looking to refill his preconditioning pens. He has decided that he wants to buy 7 animals. So in this situation, with his current herd, how many animals would Farmer Howard have to sell to be able to buy 7 animals? The answer is 2.5, right? He'd have to sell about 2 or 3. So if I sell 2 or 3 animals and I take the money that I made last week, I can buy 7 animals. So I would effectively be selling 2 animals, right? I would effectively be selling 2 animals and I would be buying 7. I would be selling 3 animals and I would be buying 7, and I would also come home with maybe $1,000. Right? I mean, that's the answer, right? Money is not an opinion. It doesn't matter, money is not an opinion. Money is very simple. Money is very simple. All right, money is very simple. If I sold, if Farmer Howard sold 2 or 3 animals, he could, and the money that he made last week, and he put it all together, he could effectively buy 7 animals and come home with an extra $1,000. Why would he do that? Because his preconditioning pens, he has already determined that 7 animals is a good number of animals for his preconditioning pens. I don't want to put more than 7 animals in my preconditioning pens, right? Very simple, right? Very, very simple. It's not complicated. I can go and buy myself another half a load of grain, or buy myself 2 tons of fertilizer, whatever it is that I need. All right, and in the whole situation with with everything just as it is, I mean, but think about it in terms of that. I mean, if I sold 2 animals and I bought 7, then how many animals would I be in the net pot? You see what I'm saying? Money is not difficult. Money is not difficult. If I sold 2 animals and I bought 7, then I came home with 5 extra animals, right? Very simple. It's not some complicated thing. And I've already said that when I take a look at something like a business, if I because in my current situation, I am drastically in the net positive. I legitimately make so much money doing this that it doesn't even matter. I can effectively buy 99.999%. I could put $1 million in a hole in the ground right now and light it on fire, and it wouldn't even matter. All right, it wouldn't even matter. That's how much money I make in the cattle business. All right, let's just be honest about it. I'm not bragging about it. I'm just being honest about it. I could legitimately go right now to the bank and say, give me $1 million. They will give me my $1 million. I could put that money in a hole right now and light it on fire, and it wouldn't even faze me. It wouldn't even matter. And I'm actually going to be doubling the size of my business over the next 5 months. I've already made it, I've already found myself a good deal. And in all honesty, once I start cash flowing the new property, I'll even probably buy myself my own property. That's been the big idea all along, right? I'm going to buy myself my own property. I'm going to buy myself a real big one. All right, that's been the big idea. Right, my business is going to more than double over the next 365 days. I would actually anticipate that I end up closer to $1 million a year than 250 or 350. That's my realistic situation. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. I mean, you got all these, what I call the moron megazord, right? I mean, you got all these people, it's like they're all running in the wrong direction. Oh my God, well, I fell out of heaven at 7 and my life's a magical journey. I have a bunch of opinions and, altruism and good thing I'm a good person. And oh my God, well, I was born with the answer. And then, and then it's like all these people just massively fail. But at the end of the day, I do very well for myself, right? I do very well for myself, and I did not sell my soul to the devil to do it. So why not? Why not show my perspective? Why not put my, reality? If you don't like it, you can sue me. Have fun with that. All right, and even as of today, I'm net positive. I don't even know. I legitimately make so much money in the cattle business. I don't even know how much money I make. All right, I could legitimately put $1 million in a hole right now and light it on fire and it wouldn't even matter to me. All right, I don't know how else to put that. And that's actually a very realistic way to look at what it looks like when you make 250 to 500 times more money than the average person. The average person doesn't even have $2,000. If they legitimately ran into a situation where they needed $2,000, the average person would freak out. Oh my God, $2,000. All right, legit. That's another way to look at it. All right, and in all honesty and honest to God, just it is what it is. If I put $1 million in a hole right now and lit that money on fire, it wouldn't even matter to me. It wouldn't even matter. That's what it looks like when you make 250 to 500 times more money than the average person. All right, that is my reality. And I'm actually going to be doing drastically better for myself. I'm actually anticipating that I double the size of my business over the next 5 months. All right, and we should just be honest about it, because lying to yourself is not going to help you. And I talk about this all the time. There's a very real possibility that almost, well, it is what it is. I mean, I actually have not met anybody even doing 10%. All right, and 10% would be about 300,000 to 500,000 a year. If you or anybody, if you know somebody, if you legitimately know somebody who is actively generating themselves $500,000 a year, then that person would be doing 10% of what I'm doing. All right, that's the reality. If you know somebody who's even doing $500,000 a year, they would be doing, and here's the thing, is that when we talk about $5 million a year, generating $5 million a year, we're actually talking about me as of today. I would actually anticipate that I double the size of my business over the next 5 months. I would actually anticipate that my net worth goes over $10 million by the end of this year. That's what I reasonably anticipate. My net worth is probably going to go over 10 million. All right, that's what I reasonably anticipate. I don't even worry about money. Money, and here's the thing, is that if something happens and I legitimately am like, I'm concerned about money, I will just flat out tell you. I'm not gonna lie about it. If something goes horribly wrong or something, and I'm like, I'm in a hard spot and I gotta get, and I gotta figure this thing out, I will tell you. I'm not gonna lie about it, because that's the thing, it's like the whole thing about, it's like lying, and I will just flat out tell you. If I legitimately enter a difficult situation, I will tell you, and I will tell you this is what the situation that I'm looking at, and these are the solutions that I'm considering. All right, I'm looking into this, right? I'm gonna stop liquidating animals, and I'm gonna raise the average market weight of my animals from 550 to 650. Right, I'm gonna stop taking leverage, and I'm gonna whatever, right? I mean, I will tell you, if as of right now, am I in the net positive? I'm very drastically in the net positive. For me to go into the even borderline zero, I've even stopped taking leverage over the last month. All right, I've completely stopped taking leverage, and I am drastically in the net positive. I don't even know I legitimately make so much money doing this. I don't even know how much. I don't worry about money. That's how much money I make. And in all honesty, God, I could put $1 million in a hole right now and I could light that money on fire and it wouldn't even matter. All right, and that's the reality of my situation. And I legitimately just make money running cattle. That's the whole situation. You know, me, 99.999% of my net worth came from the cattle business. And I'm actually probably going to even double this thing over the next 5 months. All right, that's the reality. Nobody cares about an opinion. All right, you know, and you can write it down and you can see where we're at in 5 months. Did Farmer Howard actually double the size of his herd? Did he meet his goals, etc., etc.? And if something goes wrong along the way or whatever, if things go even better than expected or whatever, I will tell you the truth. All right, as of right now, I am very drastically in the net positive. I don't even know by how much. I don't. I know that I make a lot of money. And even as of right now, it's like when I take a look at it, if I was going to refill my preconditioning pens, if I was just going to refill all of my preconditioning pens, I would have to liquidate about 2.5 animals to buy 7. All right, so I would be net positive about 4.5 animals. And also in 2 weeks, I have another set of animals that, you know, and you know, right now I've already said, you know, I'm going to get in the backgrounding business. And, you know, as of today, you know, there's really not any reason for me to liquidate, you know, unless I see the animals getting over like 850, right? If the animals are going over 850, then I'll liquidate. But, you know, as of right now, you know, because my whole situation is that, you know, there's no reason for me to sit on more cash. There's no reason to do it. What am I going to do with that? Am I going to look at it? It's not going to do anything, right? You know, my whole thing about cash, as of right now, I have I would reasonably anticipate that it's about 30 grand. All right, you know, I have 30 grand. What am I going to do with more cash? I have now, you know, let's just say I just scrape money off my business and, you know, I can, I can scrape, $7,000 off my business. I can scrape $5,000 off my business every month. And, you know, at the end of the year, I liquidate all of my animals because, oh my God, now I need more cash. I need more cash. If I don't have cash, then I don't have anything. Right. I'm a poor person too. Right, let's say that's me. What am I gonna do with $350,000 cash? What am I gonna do? What am I reasonably gonna? I would have to pay like $100,000 in taxes. Does that sound like a good idea? That is a horrible idea, right? Just think about it in terms of a fundamental idea. If I legitimately just said, you know what, if I don't have cash, I don't have anything. You know, I'm getting on the Moron Megazord. I'm going to be a part of the Moron Megazord, and you know, if I don't have cash, then I don't have anything. You know, I've decided that I'm going to be poor too. Right, that's what I've decided. And so at the end, you know, I scrape $5,000 a month off my business every month, and at the end of the year I liquidate all of my animals and I sit there with the maximum cash position that I could possibly have. Now I have, you know, and 350 grand. Well, I'm gonna have to pay about a third of that in taxes if I do that. Why would I do that? That's a horrible idea, right? Horrible idea. Just think about it in terms of what it is. Why would I do that? That's a horrible idea, right? Just think about it for what it is. It's a horrible idea. All right, so, you know, I would much rather be better off holding on to tax deductible assets that I can knowledgeably appreciate. Right, you know, I appraise my animals. I have a reasonable idea for how I appraise these animals. You know, granted, you know, it doesn't matter what weight they are. If they are 200 pounds, I can appraise this animal. If they are 800 pounds, I can appraise this animal. I have a reasonable idea for appraising the animal, the asset that I'm looking at. And when we're talking about cattle, we're talking about what kind of an asset? A commodity, right? Very simple. It's the same answer. It's a commodity asset. All right, there are different types of assets. Cattle are a commodity. And when you're looking at a commodity, it does not matter whether you're looking at corn, cattle, gold, silver, wheat. It does not matter. All of the commodities are they're all, how do you appraise the value of a commodity asset? You go on the stock market and you look it up. It's right there. All right, come on. That's how you appraise the value of a commodity, right? I talk about this all the time. Commodities are traded on the stock market. You can go on the stock market right now and look it up. If you're going to appraise the value of real estate, how do you do that? You take the real estate deal that you're looking at and you take it to the bank. The bank will tell you what your real estate is worth. If you're looking at a business, how do you appraise the value of a business? Well, you need to take a look at the numbers. Have the numbers been going up every single year? Yes or no? It's a very easy question. Money is not difficult. If you're taking a look at a business and it makes more money every single year, it's been making more money every single year, then that business is going to have a higher multiple. If the business has been making more or less the same amount of money every single year for a very long time, then that business is going to have a lower multiple. If that business is going downhill and it's actually going down, then that business is worth nothing. Don't touch it with a 5,000-foot pole. Very simple, right? And and I talk about this, in terms of business. You're, as of today, you're probably better off just, if you legitimately, for whatever reason, you've decided that you want to run a business. You've legitimately decided that you want to run a business. I don't know why you came to the conclusion, but that's what you decided you wanted to do. And and if that's what you want to do, then I hope you're ready for it. And at the end of the day, I hope that you succeed. Okay, but it's not going to be a journey. It's going to be very difficult. Then just buy one. All right, don't start your own business. Don't start your own business. You don't really want to be in a situation where you're starting your own business. The only time and at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want. It's a free country. What does it matter what I think? At the end of the day, if you think that you're gonna go and start a business, and then go and start one. Have fun. Okay, I'm just gonna give you my perspective on it. I did not start my business until I made the money. I made the money first. All right, I was sitting there, I made myself $75,000. I should start myself a business. That's how I did it. I wasn't in a situation where I was sitting in my living room with nothing, and then, oh my God, I just had this massively wonderful idea that if I start a business, then my life is going to turn into a magical journey. I just have to throw this Hail Mary into the middle of nowhere, and if I do that, then it's going to turn out just wonderfully for me. I did not do that. I was in a situation where I was like, I just made 75 grand doing this. I did not ever think of myself, I did not ever think that I was going to get in the beef cattle business, but I was taking a look at the situation. I said, you know what? I just made myself $75,000. I'm going to start my business. That's how I did it. All right, I would highly suggest starting a business after if you've legitimately, realized that you can make money. You can make a large amount of money, then go ahead and start a business. Other than that, you're probably better off just buying one. Buy a good one. Okay, don't buy a bad one and then try and fix it. Nothing like that. Just buy a good one. The price of the business, at the end of the day, the price of assets do not matter. It doesn't matter what kind of asset you're talking about, as long as you have a reasonable idea for the appraisal of the asset. And if you're going to run a business, you should probably have an idea for how you're going to make it do better as well. It doesn't matter. The price of the asset does not matter. It does not matter. The price of the asset does not matter, as long as you have a reasonable idea for how you're going to appraise the asset, and you have a good appraisal for the asset, and then you have an idea for how you're going to appreciate the value of the asset. Then the price does not matter. Okay, that's the big idea. The price is negligible. If you can get a good deal on it, then that's all that matters. All right, and the price of the asset, the price of the asset does not matter. Okay, the price of the asset does not matter. It does not matter what kind of asset we're looking at. You want to buy good assets. Buy good assets. Okay, buy good assets. Don't buy bad assets and then try and fix them. You're not fixing anything. Why would you do that? At the end of the day, the price is not going to matter anyway. All right, but originally today I was actually going to start taking animals over to the lease property, but I just got too much mud. I got to refill my preconditioning pens, and I got to, I'm waiting for the ground to dry, and I'm going to take that animal to the back. As of right now, I'm feeding about 17 buckets a day. And until I hit about 20 buckets a day, it's not that real big of a deal for me. But as of right now, over the last couple of weeks, I've just been feeding straight grass. And, in all honesty, I'm going to have to liquidate about 3 animals to refill my preconditioning pens. And if I liquidate 3 animals, if I liquidate the 3 best animals, the 3 biggest animals, the 3 most ready for market animals right now, I'll effectively make enough money to buy all 7 animals and about a half a load of grain. So I'm not really worried about it. I'm not worried about it. I sell 3, I buy 7, and I buy a half a load of grain. I'm not worried about it. Right now, I'm very far in the net positive. I don't even know how much I'm in the net. I don't know. I know that, when it comes to I don't know how much money I make. I don't. And, because it's also, here's the thing about me, the amount of money that I'm making is actually going up pretty substantially every single month. The amount of money that I'm making is actually going up all the time. So it's very difficult for me to understand exactly how much money I'm making. It's very difficult. All right, I'm not like some quantum computer, right? I'm not like some human calculator. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I can tell you that in terms of a reality sense, in terms of it just is what it is. When I look at it, it just is what it. I make a drastic sum of money. I don't even know how much money, but I know that I'm in the net positive by a lot. I'm in the net positive by a lot. All right, and that number's actually going up all the time. And if it's not, I will tell you. All right, if I legitimately run into a situation where I'm like, where I legitimately think I'm dipping into the negative, I will tell you. I'm not even close to the negative, not even close. All right, I would say that the average weight of my herd right now is probably, close to about 500 pounds. They're eating about 17 buckets of grain a day, 16 buckets of grain a day, and then I'm giving the animals out front 1 bucket. The average weight of my herd right now is probably about 500 pounds, and all these animals, I brought them in at about 200, 250. I'm doing very well for myself. I don't even know how much money I make. I don't. I make a lot. That's how much I make. I don't worry about money. That's how much I make. In terms of a reality sense, if I was going to put a number on it, a very reasonable number on it, how much money do I generate every year? I would say, as of today, it's somewhere between $3 and $5 million a year. It's probably somewhere between $3 and $5 million a year. But on the other hand, I would actually anticipate that my net worth goes over $10 million by the end of this year. I would reasonably anticipate it. I'm actually probably going to be even doubling the size of my business over the next 5 months. And then I'm probably even going to go and buy myself a bigger field. All right, I've already told you exactly how I'm going to, what's the big idea for that, right? I found a local company that creates these solar powered self feeders. I can put a self-feeder here and just leave enough animals here to float the debt service. If I just make enough money here to float the debt that I have on this property, then it doesn't matter to me, because the property will be producing an income, and that income will cover the debt service, and it doesn't matter to me. Then I'm going to take the equity of the property and then open a line of credit against it and utilize that instead of selling the property. The real estate market right now is kind of in a wonky situation, right? Prices are high, interest rates are high. It's not a real good situation for selling properties. And in all honesty, a lot of properties in my area have actually gone down. Right, and so that's the big idea, right? Maybe I just keep 20 cattle here, and then I just leave them here, and I put a self feeder here, and the thing is solar powered and it's automated, and it will feed the animals for me, and I just come by every one or 2 weeks, and then I just use the money that the property makes to pay for the debt service, and then I just open a line of credit against this property and use the line of credit to effectively just use the line of credit as money, right? Very simple. It's not complicated. I talk about this all the time. When you have equitable assets and you don't want to liquidate the asset, or if you're even a situation where you can't liquidate that, maybe you're in a situation where it's very difficult. Like my situation, it's very difficult to liquidate your asset, but you want to access the equity. How do you do that, right? You open a line of credit against it. That's how you do it. You go to the bank and you present your equitable asset to the banker. They will appraise it for you, and then they will open a line of credit against it for you and hold that equity as collateral. They will hold your asset as collateral, right? And so if I do that, I can open a line of credit against this. I can open a line of credit against this property. Just put a self feeder here, maybe leave about 20 cattle here. The self feeder and I can just grow the grass for the animals, and the self feeder will feed the animals. And then 2 or 3 times a year, I can just take all the animals and liquidate them, take that money and float the debt service for this property. Then I can just effectively, then I don't care about what it costs, because it doesn't cost me anything. It makes me money, right? That's the big idea. Like if I have something and it costs me $1,500 a month, but it makes me $2,500, then I don't care that it costs me $1,500, right? I talk about this all the time. Then I don't care, right? The $1,500, it doesn't matter. I would rather be better off just focusing on making the $2,500. Very simple, right? Because I can take the $1,500 out of the $2,500 and then just pay for the thing. It doesn't matter to me. Very simple, right? It's not complicated. And so that's the big idea for what am I going to do with this property. All right, I found this local company, and they make these heavy duty self feeders, and I'm going to buy one of those. And it's automated and solar powered, and it holds about 3,000 pounds of feed. So that's very good. I could probably fill it up once every week or two. And I just leave about 20 animals here, and then I liquidate those 20 animals maybe 2 or 3 times a year. And if I do that, I make enough money to float the debt. And if I float the debt, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it costs me, and it doesn't matter, right? I mean, it costs me, it costs me X money, but I make 2X money on it. Then I'll just take it, then I'll just take the money out of the money that I make. It's very simple, right? And then I can access the equity via a line of credit. That's the big idea. Within about I would say about 5 months, I'm actually probably going to buy myself a very big property. That's the big idea. This whole lease situation that I have, I found myself a lease property. I didn't really get myself a massive amount of time. Maybe I got myself about 4 months of time. Maybe I got myself 3 or 4 months. I can grow my business for 3 or 4 months, and it got me that much time. But that's it. It didn't get me some extraordinary thing. All right, I can grow my business for about 3 or 4 months, but after that, I'm gonna have to get myself a bigger property. I'm gonna have to get myself a bigger property, and I'm looking into buying my own land. I'm really looking to be in a situation where I buy my own land, and I'm looking to do a very big deal. All right, that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna sell this property. I'm gonna hold it, and I'm gonna leave maybe about 20 head of cattle here. I'll put a self feeder out here. I'll liquidate those 20 cattle maybe 3 times a year. And then, I'll take that money and I'll float the debt for this property. I'll open a line of credit against the equity of this property and then use that money for my next deal. That's the big idea. All right, and in all honesty, as of right this moment, I generate somewhere between $3 and $5 million a year. And by the end of this year, my net worth will actually probably be over 10 million. All right, I'm already in a situation where I don't worry about money. I don't worry about money. Money's already negligible to me. It doesn't matter. Borderline, it doesn't matter. If I legitimately felt like I needed more money, oh my God, I need more, which I don't think about. I already have plenty of money. And the amount of money that I'm making is actually going up drastically. All right, I don't think about needing more money. It's a worthless thing for me to think about. Oh my God, I don't think about that. If I legitimately felt like I needed more money, I would just run more cattle. That's it. I would just farm more land. That's it. That's it. All right, I'm not going to go on some, oh my God, if I come up with some worthless scheme. Maybe I fell out of heaven a 7. Maybe my life can turn into a magical journey. I don't do any of those things. Oh my God, if I do ABC, then XYZ. Maybe if I come up with some worthless scheme, and then I do this, and then I do that, and then I do this, and then if I do that, then it'll all come together in some magical fashion at the end, and then I can steal $1,000, right? I can steal $2,000, right? That's not me. That's not me. If I legitimately felt like I needed more money, which I don't think about, I would just run more cattle. I'm not going to sell my soul to, oh my God, if I sold my soul to the devil and I came up with this worthless scheme and maybe I fell out of heaven a 7 and I don't have to work, I don't do any of that stuff. I just run more cattle. As of today, I run about 120 cattle a year by myself. By the end of the year, it'll probably be closer to about 250. I'm going to continue to do as much work as I can by myself until I can't do it anymore. And then I'll probably hire somebody like a cattle veterinarian. That would be somebody that I would realistically hire, a veterinarian. All right, but I'm going to do everything by myself until I can't do it. As of right now, I run about 100 cattle a year by myself. I buy my own animals. I don't really give my animals their medication. I do give my animals medication, but I don't do all of that by myself anymore. I would say about 98% of everything that gets done here gets done by me, as of today. And I'm gonna continue to do that until I can't do it anymore. And then when I can't do it anymore, I'll hire somebody. I'll hire a veterinarian. Right, I'll hire a veterinarian. I'm actually, I'm even looking to, get myself a good accountant and. And et cetera, right? I'm still looking for a very, 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 very good accountant. I want a very good one. All right, I want a very good one. I want a good accountant. Because I don't, because me, at the end of the day, I do honest work. All right, I do honest work. I'm not like I'm not like whatever, right? I'm not like some criminal enterprise, and I do honest work. And I want my paperwork to be done honestly as well. Right, I just want whatever it is that I'm doing to be recorded on a piece of paper accurately. Because if it's recorded on a piece of paper accurately, then that's all I really want. All right, I just want to make sure everything gets recorded accurately. That's what I want. I'm not like stealing money and going on some worthless thing and doing some work. I run a very honest business. I do very well for myself. And I want my accountant to more or less be on the same page as me, right? Do honest work and then just record it accurately, and etc., etc. But that's one thing I need to do right now, is I need to refill my preconditioning pens. And if I refill my preconditioning pens, I'm gonna have to sell about 3 animals. And if I sell 3 animals with the money that I brought home last week, I'll be able to buy 7, and I'll be able to buy half a load of grain as well, or 2 tons of fertilizer, whatever I decide that I need. Maybe I go and buy 2 tons of fertilizer instead. I'll be selling 3, buying 7, and I'll come home with about $1,500 as well. And but that's my current situation. And because but I'm really looking for a good accountant. I want a good accountant. That's what I want. I'm looking for a good accountant, right? I'm looking for somebody who's just very and then in the future I would anticipate that I'm looking for an animal veterinarian as well, like a cattle vet. If I could find a cattle vet, then that would be great as well too, right? I mean, and then after that I'll figure it out. I'll probably buy a bunch of machinery. Not a bunch of machinery, but I'll probably buy equipment. I'll buy myself a new truck. I'll buy myself a bigger cattle trailer. I'll buy myself a few solar powered self feeders, right, etc., etc. And then and then I will probably still have a large amount of money left over. It doesn't matter. All right, it doesn't matter. I would anticipate that I would still have a large amount of money left over. Even as of right now, I do, I'm on a 10.5 acre field, and I'm legitimately generating myself like $3 to $5 million a year on a 10.5 acre field running commercial cattle. All right, that's very good, right? I mean, a lot of people can't even make $300,000, $500,000 a year. Most people can't even do that doing anything. And I managed to make, I managed to do effectively, I managed to do very well for myself, right? And money talks. It is what it is. Nobody cares about an opinion, especially not me. If it comes down to it, and like if I legitimately think that, if I legitimately think that I'm dealing with a poor idiot moron, not a broke person, but a legitimate moron, idiot, poor person, then I will leave you for dead. I'm not even going to attempt to save you. All right, it's like, for the love of God, at least please try. How much do you think my net assets are worth? Right? I mean, think about it. I created this business by myself. I even show you my checks. How much do you think my net assets are worth? Right? 3 to 5 million is very, very, very reasonable. And I'm actually doing better for myself every single month. My income is actually going up. I would actually anticipate that I double the size of my business within the next 5 months. All right, at least for the love of God, at least try. If you have a bunch of opinions and you have no money, that's kind of pathetic, and you're gonna die poor. All right, I don't know how else to put it, and there's no reason for you to die poor. All right, why don't choose to die poor, okay? Don't choose to be a poor person. I was talking about this yesterday. You have to be okay with the idea of having money, okay? And I found that it helped me a lot to not sell my soul to the devil for the money. I didn't sell my soul to the devil for money. I make a very large amount of money. If you actually take a look at it, 99.99999% of the entire U.S. population is actually closer to being homeless than to generating as much money as me. Homeless, legitimately homeless. And if you want to take a look at it in terms of another way to look at the same exact idea, most people will freak out about $2,000. Most people will. Even $2,000 will freak them out. With me personally, in my situation, I could put $1 million in a hole right now and light it on fire and it wouldn't even matter. That's the difference in the monetary, that's the difference. That's what it looks like. And the amount of money that I'm making is actually going up vertically. That's the reality. All right, and the truth is the truth. Opinions don't get you paid. Nobody cares about your opinion. Have fun dying poor. Have fun with that. You're gonna die poor. You're gonna live your whole life poor, and then you're gonna die poor. Have fun with that. All right, no, I'm not gonna go down with you. I've already decided that I'm not gonna be a poor person. I've already decided that. I didn't sell my soul to the devil to make money. Most people cannot generate $3 to $5 million a year doing anything. And I managed to do it running commercial cattle on a 10.5 acre field. That's very impressive. That's very good, right? That's very good. And so think about it like that. I'm a first generation farmer. I started this business for myself. I legitimately make so much money on this field. I don't even know how much money I make. I don't. I make a lot. A metric boatload. I could put $1 million in a hole right now and light it on fire and it wouldn't even matter. That's how much money I make. I legitimately, I don't even know how much money I make. I don't. And I'm not bragging about it. It just is what it is. And I've been telling you exactly how I do everything. I mean, more or less, there's no reason why you cannot do at least 10%. And if you could do 10%, you would be making yourself $300,000 to $500,000 a year. You would be generating that much for yourself. And if you even made an extra if you generated 10% cash flow off of that equity, you could still make yourself an extra 30 to 50 grand. And at that point, you could practice for free. You could practice for free, and then one day you could get here too. Are you going to wake up tomorrow and be one of the most capable cattlemen on the entire planet, one of the best farmers known to man? No, you're not. It's not possible. There's no way that you can do it over 24 hours. There's no way that you can even do it over 5 years, maybe not even 10 years. It's probably not possible. If you legitimately got after it today, maybe, it took me 12 years. This is maybe my 14th year. And I legitimately didn't get paid anything for like my first 12 years. I effectively sucked so badly that I couldn't make any money. If anything, for the first 12 years, I didn't make any money. I didn't get paid until my 14th year. I didn't get paid until my 12th year. My 12th year, I made about 75 grand. My 13th year, I made, I don't know, maybe about 120. My third year, as of right this moment, maybe I'm going to do about 250, 350,000. And I'm actually going to do more than that. All right, and that's what it is. Nobody cares about an opinion. All right, if you have a bunch of opinions and you're poor, at the end of the day, the results are what they are, right? You're going to die poor, and it's sad. It's not funny. All right, I don't, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me. I'll just leave you for dead. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not even going to attempt to save you. Or anybody, if you're legitimately a poor idiot, like not only are you poor, but you're legitimately a moron, then there is no saving you. I can almost guarantee you're already in a death spiral and you're gonna die poor. All right, there's nothing that it would be a miracle if you turned around, and if you turned around, I would be very happy for you. I would be very happy. What do I get from seeing people fail? That's the thing, but I don't. It's not funny. All right, having this massive level of failure is not funny. All right, and if you manage to do better for yourself, and think about it, like if you even did 10%, you could effectively practice for free. And if you practiced all the time for a very long time, then you could make it too. Most people cannot generate $3 to $5 million a year doing anything at all. Most people can't. Under any circumstance, they cannot do it. And I managed to do it on a 10.5 acre field running commercial cattle. It's very difficult, borderline impossible. It's very hard. All right, and it took me practically my entire life to make it. All right, it was very difficult. I didn't even get paid until like my 12th year. And money is not an opinion nobody cares about, especially not me. If it comes down to it, I will legitimately just be rich by myself. I will legitimately just sit here and have a massive sum of money by myself. I'm not going to go and be poor. All right, I'm not going to be poor. I've already decided I'm not going to be poor. All right, and I'm not going to be poor. All right, if I legitimately think that I'm dealing with a moron who is poor, then I will leave you for dead. Have fun dying poor. Have fun with that. You're gonna die poor. Have fun with that. All right, no, your life is not going to turn into a journey. No, your life is not going to turn into a magical adventure. You're going to die poor. All right, you're going to die poor unless you turn yourself around. And at the end of the day, I'm the one with the money. I make a large amount of money. I don't even know how much money I make. I could legitimately put $1 million in a hole right now and light it on fire, and it wouldn't even matter to me. That's how much money I make. All right, as of right now, this cattle business probably makes me somewhere around $15,000 and $20,000 a month, and I'm actually going to double that over the next 5 months. All right, and by the end of the year, I actually anticipate that I end the year closer to $1 million than 250. It just is what it is. I'm not bragging about it. That's what you're looking at. All right, and how many times do you think you're going to get to see this throughout your life? How many times do you think you're going to get to see, oh, you know what, I started a business in my backyard and I generated $3 to $5 million on the third year? How many times do you think you're going to get to see that? And I actually have a reasonable idea for how I'm going to do better for myself in the future. How many times do you think you're going to get to see that? Not very many. This may be your only chance to see it. All right, this may be your only chance to see it. And I'm telling you exactly how I do it. This is exactly how I do it. I'm telling you this is exactly how I do it. And, it just is what it is. I'm not bragging about it. I'm not boasting about it. I'm just telling you that's the reality. Because at the end of the day, the truth is the truth. All right, the lying is not going to get anybody anywhere. Lying to yourself especially is not going to get you anywhere. If you're going 180 degrees in the wrong direction, that's very bad. All right, take a look at it for what it is. I mean, when you just look at the net appraisal of my assets, what do you think they're worth? Just take a look at it for what it is. What do you think it's worth? All right, I've even shown you my cash flow, and I've even shown you exactly what I do with my money. What do you think the business is worth, and what do you think my assets are worth? And then I'm going to double it over the next 5 months. What do you think it's worth? All right, just sit there and think about it. 3 to 5 million is very reasonable. Right? It's very reasonable. I would actually anticipate that I end the year with a net worth over 10 million. And here's the thing, I make my money in the cattle business, legitimately just in the cattle business. I don't sell courses on YouTube. I don't sell my soul to the devil. I don't come up with worthless schemes, none of that. I legitimately make my money in the cattle business. That's my situation, is I legitimately make money in the cattle business. I make money farming. I legitimately make money farming. A massive amount of money. I don't even know how much money I make. All right, it just is what it is. It's the truth. And that's it for me today, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.